Yeah, I think we've got a lot of good work in. I mean, we're a work in progress, but told you at the beginning, I think we just seemed like we were a bigger football team. Um, and I think obviously that hadn't changed, but like the good thing has been just we're still athletic and we can run. The catapult system says we're probably about a mile and a half per hour faster as a group to what we averaged in the past. So, if you can get more size and a lot better length and be able to still move and run and feel like not only have you not lost any athleticism, you may have upgraded. That's good. I think that'll help us. I think the other thing is we have a chance to have maybe better depth than we've had, which will help both on both sides of the ball, but really on special teams. But in terms of the work we've gotten in, I've been really pleased. We've got a lot of work in and probably like 10 or 11 practices so far. We've been really physical. Guys have done a good job of practicing that way without having to tackle all the time. And really just the energy, the competitiveness has been really good. I thought early on in spring ball the defense was pretty dominant, and the offense had to find a way to match their energy. They finally did, and so since then, the last 2 weeks, it's been a lot of good back and forth. And so, I'm glad we don't play for just under 5 months, but I thought we've had a productive spring. Hopefully tomorrow night, have a good night with our fans. We're going to divide them up into teams, so you won't see first team offense, first team defense. So it may be a little messy at times, but it'll be fun. It'll be competitive. You get to see all the guys, and hopefully we can get out of that healthy and get ready for a great summer.
Do you think a big part of that depth and increase in athleticism as a team, part of that comes down to just an increase in the talent level of these freshmen that are enrolling on?
100%. That's the foundation coming in every year. Each year our freshman classes have gotten better, and the last two freshman classes, both being around top 30 or better classes, it's a big deal. And not just at skill positions, but O-line, D-line. That's where you're starting to see the depth come in as well. And so I think without question, the guys are coming in. They're bigger. They're more physically ready. They're, again, I think we've gone into the ACC. We're going in year 3 now. We've been top 25 preseason, postseason, or both for the last 3 years. So I think everyone's starting to see us as the program we are and want to be. And so we're just attracting the best players in the country. And so that's the base that helps the depth, because if not, you're just bringing in transfers every year. You have your seniors and you got good frontline guys, but then who's the twos, who's the threes, who are going to play on teams? And, man, to play a 12-game season and hopefully another 4 or 5 in the postseason, you're going to need all of it.
Spoke with Grizz last week, and he was talking about what you mentioned, the miles per hour and things like that. What have you seen in that regard with like the secondary and just adding those pieces with guys returning and how that unit looks?
Yeah. Yeah, we're a lot improved, at least at this point in the process, to where we were this time last year in the back end. I think the guys returning are more improved. I think the pieces we've added are impact guys, and so it's a good combination. But yeah, we're faster. I think it's a combination. I do think we're a little faster. We're a little bigger on the back end. You add guys like JT and Jarvis, and then experienced guys like Jimmy to go along with guys we have coming back like Marcellus and Speedy, and I know Polly and Reyes. I know I'm leaving some guys out. Lamadric, like we got good depth, we got good size, but I think it's a combination. We're probably a little faster, but I think we're playing harder, and so that sometimes shows up on those catapult numbers. Like the numbers are higher in practice, probably because the guys are straining and practicing harder and running to the ball. And I think that starts with Coach Crum and Coach Hunley, just the energy that they've instilled in that unit, and the desire to play extremely hard regardless. We got guys hitting numbers in practice that have been here that were never hitting them before. They probably didn't get any faster. They're just practicing and playing harder, and that's the whole name of the game on defense, swarm. If you swarm, you're going to get beat some, but you get it on the ground, you eliminate the explosive touchdowns, and you live to fight another down, and that's why I think they're creating those habits.
At running back with Kendrick coming in, and then it seems like Jermico's kind of just being unleashed. What's that group? Like, hey, some blue chippers to come in.
Yeah, we still don't have our 2 freshman running backs to come in, but I've been really pleased with the running back room. I think we have a chance to be really, really good and good depth. I mean, look, Kendrick coming in with just the experience, a really good all-around back. I mean, you can throw him the ball, you can hand it off up the middle, you can hand on the outside, he can pass protect, he's really smart, he's tough. There's a saying, guys act like pros before they're pros. He already acts like a pro. He acts like a guy who's going to be playing on Sundays in a year, just from his mentality, right? And obviously he's talented. We saw that firsthand. And then I think that really helps a guy like Chunky because, if Chunky had not gotten hurt at the end of fall camp last year, probably would have seen more of him. He probably would have ended up being our number 2 guy last year, him and TJ Harden, I think. But it's hard as a true freshman anyways, and then that kind of slowed it down, and saw him a little bit at the end against Arizona late, but you can just tell what a difference is. He's still a freshman, right? I mean, it's still his first year, but he's really going into year 2 now with us. And now he's done a full season, a full spring ball. He'll get a full summer again. I think his ceiling is extremely high. So you look at those guys as a 1-2 punch. And then Link Rhodes, we moved him to running back. You can tell there's not a lot of thinking, just handing the ball, let him go. He's explosive. He's big. He can really go. And so you kind of look what Shoddy did for us last year. There's a potential for that role. And then, of course, the freshman coming in. So I really like that room. I think it's got a chance. It's got a chance to be the best room we've had as a whole probably since we've been here.
The defensive line just seems like the pieces really complement each other across that group. Can you talk about that group and just how they've developed over the course of spring?
Yeah, I think we've got really good depth across the board. Whether it's guys we brought in like White and Ira and Malcolm and CD and those guys, but then the guys returning, and I think getting Uno back, Jonathan Jefferson's big. I think a guy like Kevin Allen, who's in the last probably 18 months made as big of a stride as anyone we've ever brought in out of high school. I think he's just really he helped us last year, and I think he's picked up right where he left off and had a really good spring. So I think we have really good depth, and we still have 2 or 3 pieces not out there. I mean, Keith Doty will be here. Dakota Dickinson's been here. That's going to help us. Jalen Shivers, those guys coming on. I think getting Doty in here is a young guy that's got the size to help us this year. Hopefully he gives us some plays. And then Woo's coming back from shoulder. And then, TA will be here this summer on the edge. So I like our depth. I couldn't tell you right now this guy's going to be the bell cow that dominates in the middle or on the edge. And someone may step up and become that guy. But right now we have a good unit. We can rush the passer. We're stopping the run and being physical at a good level. And so, a lot of times in practice too, there's probably more sacks out there than they're getting called. I like the depth and the quality of the depth we have is probably, it may be as good a depth as we've had since we've been here.
Are there any leaders that are maybe surprised you that you weren't expecting coming into spring?
I don't think there's any that. Not yet. I mean, there's guys that I think are starting to come into that role. You've got the usual suspects guys hear about, but and everybody leads differently. So, I'll give you a few because that's what you want. I don't like naming them this time of year, but I mean, I look at a guy like Speedy Nettles. I mean, Speedy's going to be incredibly versatile on the back end for us. Doesn't say hardly anything. That's okay, but he can play corner. He can play field or boundary. He can play nickel. He can play safety. We've trained him in almost every position. He's smart. He's instinctive. He's got good size. He knows who he is. And so I could see him being one of those guys that really comes on the back end. I think you've got guys who just got here, like Jimmy Wyrick and Jarvis, that, okay, they're just trying to get through spring, but you hope in the summer and fall camp, you see those are guys I think could take off. And, I think a guy like Man Polly will probably end up having a lot of leadership for us. So just on the back end. And on the offense, no one's really surprised. I mean, I think both our tight ends came in. I mean, Randy Pittman has that energy and that personality. He's just such a great competitor that he's not going to not lead other guys to compete. And so, Josh Bates has been who we thought. So it's not a lot of surprises, but I think what you're seeing is, and Grizz has been really intentional with what we do in the winter and spring and how we try to develop leaders. Not just the top line guys like a Kevin Jennings or a Kilgore, but like across the board. It's going to be, I think, a big deal having a Kill Washington out there with us this year. And so, hopefully what you really hope is at the end of the day, everyone's a leader. I mean, that's the truth. They're all leading. They're all at bare minimum leading themselves, and they all are responsible for holding everyone accountable. It doesn't matter if you're a true freshman and I'm a senior. You're responsible for holding me accountable to the standard that we want to have here, and vice versa. And so we've talked to them about that. We're wanting to develop individuals, but as a whole, like, everybody's a leader. So, may have different roles and how you lead, but everybody's got to do it their own way.
When you hear things like, and this is a total departure from spring, but the 5-year discussion, do you have a stance on that or what all that may or may not look
Yeah.
in favor of that.
Yeah, it would be huge if we can get that cemented and done. It'd be huge for a variety of reasons. One, it makes it better for the young men. Hey, I got 5 years to play, and it's not, well, I only get 4 in this year, 4 in that year. And it also takes that, in some ways it takes the option, but really takes the pressure off of them because there's no value now in only playing 4 and opting out in the middle of the season. We've literally trained people to quit, and that's not what we call it, but it's what it is. And now you got agents in their ears saying, hey, quit, no, just wait, save the year. And it's unfair to the kid to put him in that position to start with. And then it's unfair to the program. I'm like, well, do we have them? Do we not? And it's a health and safety deal. You get late in the year and all these guys opted out or are wanting to redshirt, and so you don't have as many bodies. And give them 5 years to play. And then on the flip side is give them 5 years to play, not 6, not 7, not 8. You know what I mean? This sport is intended to go from high school to college to pro or the real world. And look, for no one's fault, it's just kind of got, when you got 8, 9-year players, hey, 5 years to play, you know, especially now, I mean, the whole redshirt deal, it's not what it was 10, 20, 30 years ago with the way the rev share and everything is. Man, get them in, let them play, let them develop. If it's one play or one game or 3 games or 8 games as a freshman, is valuable to their development. And let's stop kind of putting barriers in the way for the kids and the programs. I think it's a win-win for everybody. It's a no-brainer. So I'm glad to see it's close and on the line. Hopefully we can get it across the finish line because I think long-term it's best for everyone.
There's also some discussion nationally around third parties with now the cap coming into play for a lot of programs and trying to go above the cap. Run Pruner Run started around here. What have you observed in that space, you know, nationally for third parties and that option for SMU?
Yeah, I mean, there's the cap and then there's third party, and it's not going anywhere. So, yeah, the programs that want to go all in and max out the cap, they got a chance to compete. The ones that don't have no chance. But then there's another step. If you just max out the cap, you'll be middle of the pack. You know, but if you find creative ways to get your student athletes more third-party opportunities the right way through the right mediums, that's the programs that are really going above and beyond. That's the ones that are going to be perennial top 15, top 20 teams every year. And so, you know, whether it's Run Pruner Run, that gives our entire fan base a chance to get involved. You can't. One of the most powerful things for any school and for any athletics program and for any football program is your alumni base. And they all have to be involved. And so some schools have 50, 60,000 students. Well, they're churning out, you know, 10K plus every year into the real world. And over time, that's just exponential. Their alumni base is huge. So they could have a lot of alumni given a very little, and that's a lot of money to support their program. That's how they're good. Then you got some schools with smaller alumni bases, but very affluent alumni people. And so, and all in between. But the programs that you see are year in, year out successful and that have, quote, tradition and have considered themselves, you know, a perennial top 10, top 25 team, it's not just because they've won. They've won because of the support they've had and the backing across the board, not just of a few. And so, you know, in the last 3 years, we've become a top 25 team. I mean, we've either started the season, ended the season, or both. The last 3 years, probably we'll do it again this year. I don't know. Who knows what the voters think, but all the other prognosticators have us in the top 25. So, and we definitely expect to be there at the end of the year. So if we're doing that on the field, then what we need for the staying power, for us to be as good as we want to be and our fan base wants us to be and to win a national championship, we got to have everybody. And so it doesn't matter if you're given millions of dollars or $100 a month or 10 grand or somewhere in between. Every little bit helps. And I think there's different avenues to get involved. Run Pruner Run's a great opportunity for a large majority, I think, of our alumni base and our supporters to get plugged in and help our student athletes, which in turn helps our program compete at the highest level.
We get to talk with Kevin here in just a second, but what have you seen from his development this spring? And, you know,
Yeah.
right on track with what you hoped?
He's been great. You know, he's done a really good job of being patient with the new guys. So, you know, we got really good guys we brought in, but we got 2 new outside receivers that came in. Now we still got Jay Coop and Zay and those guys. We got 2 new outside receivers and 2 freshman outside receivers. Then we got 2 new tight ends and a freshman tight end. And then we got pretty much a new running back, 2 new running backs and a freshman running back, right? So almost all the skill spots, with the exception of Miz and Jay Coop, were brand new. And, you know, the first week, it's going to look a little bit ugly and rough, and it did. And I think he did a nice job of leading those guys through it. Not, hey, when you're used to throwing to Jordan Hudson for 3 years and Romello Brinson for 3 years and R.J. Maryland and Matt Hibner and like, that there's a comfort level there because of the continuity that has been developed over time. And now you're a guy like him who's been here, but you got to start all over. Now the talent's there, and he knows that. But like these guys, I'm not on the same page with them yet. Shouldn't be in the spring. So I think we're not there yet, but we are miles further at the end of spring than we were at the beginning. The summer will be big, and fall camp to getting to work game one, we're on the same page. But I credit him with his patience and not getting frustrated with that development process. That would be one. I think that shows a lot of maturity and leadership. I think, from a practical standpoint, he's done a really good job of playing within the pocket in practice and trying to have really good drops and set his feet when he can. We all know what he can do when things break down or we have a protection issue or they cover it and he extends the plays. That's his superpower, and you don't want to take that away from him. But when things are clean, let's set our feet and be more consistently accurate. I think he's really, if you watch practice, you see him really trying to hone in on that. So I think that's been a really good thing. And then just, I don't know if it's Coach Ward being out there or Coach King getting on him harder or him getting mad at the whistle I blow in practice, but he's had a little bit of a feistier edge about him in a good way. And so all of that, I've been really pleased because I've said it forever since he got here. The best thing about Kev is he's just consistent. You know who he is. He's a phenomenal young man, and that's who he's going to be. That's how he was raised. And success, starting, all those things, money, none of it hadn't changed him. So that's been good.
I think this is the first time this program's done spring and forward in a while.
Well, yeah, so we did it my first year, and I don't even remember. I think it was more just I can't remember how we structured it. And yeah, I am excited to be back and forward tomorrow night. And it's not been a long-standing tradition here like it is other places, and that's fine. The last 3 years, we couldn't be in Ford because Weber was being built, and then we were, changing the field to grass. So it's the first chance we've gotten to be here since the first year. And now there's not a second portal and all those things. It just allows us to try to have some fun. So I would encourage our fans to come out. We're going to be out stretching by 6. We'll start at 6:30, and we'll be done by 7:45 or 8. I mean, we're not going to stay out there all night. And then our guys are signing autographs. There's a lot of things. But, yeah, to get the SMU family together, if you're in Dallas and you're an SMU person, or if you just, hey, I want to see what this team that's been making noise about, come spend time with us, because that's another way you build excitement and momentum, is having thousands of people in the stands to just watch our guys compete. So it's good to be in Ford. We're going to divide the teams up, like I said, kind of a blue and a white. We'll have the decal helmet for the Children's Hospital like we've done the last several years. And so, like I said, it could get ugly at times because you won't see the starting O-line or the starting secondary, but you also see a lot of individuals playing and competing. Quarterbacks will duel on both sides, and should be fun. So that's, again, just part of it. Getting a chance to be back and forward is good. And I guess I won't see you guys again until like media days or something. We may have a nice announcement here in the next month or so we'll just tease that. All right. See you guys.
Okay, buddy.
What was spring like for you, getting to know all of these new faces that you're working with outside of really Miz and a couple others?
Yeah, spring was really fun, honestly. Just having the new guys out there, getting to see different faces and being able to connect with different guys on and off the field. So it was honestly just a blessing just to have that many guys come in and just, get them adapted really quick as they did. Everybody adjusted really quick and everybody just came together as a family. And, we looked good the whole spring, honestly. Defense made really good plays. Defense, it looks really different out there. They're moving faster, tighter coverages, all of that. So it's honestly just a blessing to have these guys come in and adapt really quickly.
Coach, last year you talked about maybe a little bit of an edge on the whole team. Did you feel like there was some extra intensity in just the spring?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think that's one thing they push us on, honestly, the competitive nature and just being playing with more of an edge out there, being competitive and just talking smack, having the energy and all that. So they definitely showed it. Defense showed it a lot this past spring right here. And, I'm just looking forward to, heading to the season with them and seeing them doing the same thing on the field against another team.
Was there anybody that you feel like you took a really big step with as far as your chemistry and just knowing where they are and all those things?
Yeah, I can say say that for a lot of guys, honestly, but the one that stood out the most was Jacob. From last year, he's a freshman. We knew he could make the plays. We knew he can go out there and ball out. But this year he took it to another level. You see him when the ball in his facility. He's attacking the ball. He's making high point catches, being strong with his hands and all of that. So he improved a lot, and our chemistry just keep growing and growing over time.
When you have a guy like him who's so focused on like the route tree, and exactly where he's going to be,
Right.
how much does that help you guys get to know that
Yeah.
be where you're supposed to be?
Yeah, it helps a lot because sometimes as a quarterback, you really don't see him. You just know the spot he's supposed to be in, and you see the green grass. So when you're dropping back, the lineman's in your face. I know I can put the ball right there and trust him. Even if I don't see him, I know he's going to be right there. Just put the ball in the facility. He's going to make a play for me and make me look good. So that's the number one thing for sure.
I think I asked you at the start of spring about the running back room, but how have you seen that room, and especially Chunky and Kendrick?
Yeah, yeah, those guys are elite. Giving them the ball. Our lineman had a really good spring as well. Paired them two guys with our lineman. It's over with. Honestly, Kendrick he rushed for 1,000 yards last year, and we're looking for more this year. Honestly, we got the great O line to do it, and we also got Jermichael Green with 1-2 punch him and Kendrick Raphael. So it's going to be a elite season for the running backs.
As far as watching the new guys like Jalen Hale,
Mm-hmm.
Johnny Smith, coming to the fold at the outside spots, what was that like? Building that chemistry with them. What have you seen from them?
Yeah, it's honestly amazing just building the chemistry with those two guys. Those guys want to work. They want to stay late and put in extra work. Like me and Yannick yesterday, we stayed after practice and just worked on our back shoulders the whole time. Was in the weight room just throwing like 50 back shoulders back to back to back, and that's the dedication you got to put in. Have the chemistry, and we just keep doing it, and we're gonna perfect it at some point. Him, and Jay Hill, and all those guys. So yeah, just got to keep working.
With Jalen Hale, him going through what he went through with the injury and all those things, I mean, he just looks like he's kind of rolling out there right now.
Right.
Have you talked with him about the injury, the recovery, how he's feeling? I mean, I know he wasn't here for that, but
Yeah.
it's got to feel good for him to be where he's at.
Yeah, I think he's definitely feeling good. I think that was the first thing we talked about when we did Routes on Air, just how is his knee and all of that. He told me it was great, and it looked great the first day he was out there. He was rolling. He's definitely one of our fastest guys. So just seeing him out there, being able to break and make plays on the ball, and seeing his speed and the potential that he's going to get to when the season starts, I know it's going to be great. So I have full amount of confidence in those guys. And yeah, ready to get rolling.
You mentioned Jalen's speed, and Coach Lashley talked about just how the team's speed is up from where it was a year ago. Is that something you notice when you're out in practice, just overall players
Yeah.
flying around the field?
Yeah, that's definitely something I noticed. I know me and Kendrick Raphael was joking about it earlier. He was talking about he the top fastest dude on the team, so we was arguing with that over and over and over. So, but I definitely see it. Last you mentioned like the catapults. Everybody's speeds are higher. The team looks faster and all of that. So, it's really great, honestly, just seeing those guys flying around.
When you look across the field, Coach Ward or the secondary, JT back,
Yeah.
things like that, what have you seen from the secondary? Because it seems, from our vantage point, guys it's tighter coverage,
Yeah.
the windows are out that are a little bit smaller than maybe they were last year.
Yeah, it's definitely tough out there just playing against those guys. Kind of like old times, we got Jimmy Wyrick back there, Abdul Muhammad, and Javon Thomas, Coach Ward's out there as well. So it's just bringing me back old memories, honestly. But it's great. Coach Ward, he talks to me every day about it, how the coverage are tighter. As last year we didn't do that, but this year the coverages are way more tighter. It's forcing me to fit the ball in more tighter areas, and it's just gonna make me better in the long run, honestly. So that guy, he challenged me every single day, and I just got to respond with it, and hope he keeps doing it.
You talk about those guys from the Dallas area. Is that just another reinforcement of why to come to SMU?
Yeah.
They pitch, come play for your own
Right.
team, but it seems like that really is the
Yeah,
deal.
I think that definitely is the motto, honestly. We got guys from Duncanville, DeSoto, Sauk, just all around the Dallas Metroplex. So I think, as long as we keep bringing those guys in, we're going to keep winning. And those guys should be, wanting to come in. We see the things that SMU is doing right now. We're going for the big level, honestly. So I think those guys should just stay with SMU and, stick in Dallas.
How do you handle just kind of focusing day by day and rep by rep and all the cliches when there is a lot of expectations going into
Yeah.
the season and you guys haven't been shy about talking about them either?
Yeah, I think the expectations are the expectations. I mean, we don't really look at it too much. I think we just focus on what we can focus on, take it day by day. Because at the end of the day, every single guy out there has been playing football since they was 8 years old. So it's the same game you've been playing your whole life, just at a higher level. So I think as long as you just go out there and have fun like you was when you was a kid, you was just out there having fun, not worrying about nothing. So I think as long as we just do that, I mean, sky's the limit for us, and we just keep winning.
You excited to get forward for the spring game?
I am.
Who's picking?
I don't know. I don't know who picked them yet. I think we're gonna talk more about that today. But it's gonna be really fun out there. It's gonna be really competitive and all that. So yeah, I'm looking forward for it.
If you're a captain, if it's you and Ty or something like that, who are you picking first? Like, if you get first pick, are you?
First pick, I gotta go with my guy Bates. Start with the center. Yeah, I gotta start right there. He's the vocal leader of this team, and he helps me out a lot. So gotta go with him for sure. All right, thank you, guys.